You won't believe these 15 black celebrities have LGBTQ plus kids. Hollywood loves to hide its secrets, but nothing is more powerful or more shocking than when the truth finally comes to light. Behind the fame, fortune, and flashing cameras are stories of legendary black celebrities whose children dared to live openly as LGBTQ+. Some of these names will absolutely surprise you, and their journeys of love, courage, and acceptance will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about stardom. Which story will shock you the most? Stay tuned, drop your opinion in the comments, and make sure you subscribe to Legends of Black Excellence for more untold revelations. Dwyane Wade. When you hear the name Dwyane Wade, basketball greatness immediately comes to mind. A three-time NBA champion, 13-time All-Star, and Olympic gold medalist Wade earned his place as one of the league's most electrifying shooting guards. His legacy is cemented in Miami Heat history, with highlights of acrobatic dunks, clutch shots, and unshakable competitiveness. But away from the court, Wade has proven that his most important victories have nothing to do with points scored. They revolve around his family and his role as a father. Among Wade's 4 children, it is his daughter, Zaya Wade, who has placed the family in the center of an important cultural conversation. In 2020, at just 12 years old, Zaya came out publicly as transgender. For many families, such a revelation might have sparked fear, secrecy, or even denial. But Wade and his wife, actress Gabrielle Union, chose a different path: openness, affirmation, and advocacy. They embraced their daughter's journey with grace and stood before the world as parents who refused to let prejudice overshadow love. Wade's decision to speak openly about Zaya's identity was groundbreaking in the world of professional sports. The NBA, like many athletic spaces, has historically emphasized rigid definitions of masculinity. By supporting his transgender daughter, Wade challenged those cultural norms and redefined what fatherhood looks like under the brightest spotlight. Instead of shielding her story, he used his platform to elevate it often, reminding the public that his role is not to control his children, but to help them flourish as their true selves. His words have resonated deeply. Wade has stated, "I don't have all the answers, but what I do know is that I love my kids unconditionally. I learn from them, I listen to them, and I support them." That humility, coming from one of basketball's fiercest competitors, has inspired countless parents, particularly in black communities, to reconsider how they respond to their children's truth. Zaya herself has since grown into a confident young woman, appearing in fashion campaigns, speaking at events, and becoming a role model for transgender youth who rarely see themselves represented in mainstream culture. Beyond family life, Wade has taken deliberate steps to advocate publicly. He has participated in interviews, documentaries, and campaigns, emphasizing acceptance, showing that his influence extends far beyond the court. For him, the true measure of a champion is not just in trophies or accolades, but in the environment of safety and love he creates for his children. Dwyane Wade's story reveals a powerful truth. Sometimes the bravest move a superstar can make is not on the basketball floor, but at home, standing proudly beside a child who dares to live authentically. His legacy as a father may ultimately outshine even his storied career, reminding the world that unconditional love is the greatest championship of all. Earvin "Magic" Johnson. Few names shine brighter in basketball history than Earvin "Magic" Johnson. With 5 NBA championships, 3 league MVP titles, and his role as the heartbeat of the Los Angeles Lakers' Showtime-era Magic revolutionized the game with his dazzling passes and infectious charisma. Off the court, he built an empire as an entrepreneur, philanthropist, and HIV/AIDS awareness advocate. Yet one of his most defining moments as a man was not a slam dunk or a business deal. It was the day he publicly embraced his son, E.J. Johnson, for exactly who he is. E.J. Johnson, born in 1992, came into the spotlight in 2013 when paparazzi photos captured him holding hands with his boyfriend in Los Angeles. For many celebrity families, such exposure might have been met with silence or discomfort. Instead, Magic Johnson immediately went public with a message of unconditional love. "I told him, EJ, we are always here for you. We love you for who you are." Those words made headlines worldwide. In a sports culture often dominated by hypermasculinity, Magic's stance was groundbreaking. EJ's journey into the public eye was just beginning. With his father's full support, he became a television personality on Rich Kids of Beverly Hills, a fashion influencer, and a bold advocate for authenticity. His flamboyant style, unapologetic self-expression, and refusal to conform to outdated norms turned him into a new kind of icon, one that celebrated individuality. Many young LGBTQ+ people found inspiration in EJ's visibility and Magic's unwavering acceptance. For Magic Johnson, who himself had experienced the weight of public scrutiny when he revealed his HIV-positive status in 1991, the importance of honesty and compassion was already ingrained. Just as he used his diagnosis to break stigma and save lives through awareness campaigns, he used his platform again, this time, to normalize acceptance of LGBTQ+ children in Black families and athletic circles. He often speaks about the lessons learned from supporting EJ, emphasizing that a parent's job is to love their child, not dictate who they should be. EJ Johnson has since emerged as a cultural figure in his own right, walking red carpets, serving as a fashion commentator, and using his voice to encourage others to live without fear. None of it would have been possible without the public affirmation of his parents. Magic and his wife, Cookie Johnson, turned what could have been a tabloid scandal into a statement of pride and family unity. Ultimately, Magic Johnson's legacy extends far beyond his no-look passes and championship rings. By standing firmly with his son, he proved that true greatness is not measured solely by what you accomplish for yourself, but by how fiercely you love and defend your family. In that sense, Magic remains a champion, not just on the basketball court, but in life. Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor is remembered as one of the most transformative figures in American comedy. With his raw honesty, fearless commentary on race politics and human flaws, and a delivery that mixed pain with humor, he redefined stand-up in the 1970s and 1980s. His influence on comedians such as Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, and Dave Chappelle is undeniable. Yet beyond the fame, the struggles, and the laughter he gave the world, Pryor's legacy also includes the story of his daughter, Rain Pryor, whose own journey brought another layer of courage and authenticity to the Pryor family name. Rain Pryor was born in 1969, the daughter of Richard and Shelley Bonus. Unlike her father, whose career was often defined by headlines about addiction-failed marriages and controversy, Rain carved a quieter yet powerful path. In 1995, at age 26, she publicly came out as bisexual, a decision that at the time was not only rare, but also risky. Public conversations about LGBTQ+ identities were still limited, and for the daughter of a world-famous comedian, the pressure was even greater. Yet Rain approached her truth with candor, choosing to live authentically rather than hide behind expectations. Her decision was not framed as a scandal, but as a necessary act of self-acceptance. Rain turned her life story into art, creating stage productions, writing essays, and publishing her 2006 memoir, Jokes My Father Never Taught Me. In that book, she detailed both the joy and the heavy weight of growing up as Richard Pryor's daughter, while also weaving in her own struggles with identity, race, and sexuality. Rain's courage added another dimension to Richard Pryor's already complex legacy. While he confronted America's racial hypocrisy through comedy, she confronted societal expectations about sexuality and selfhood. Both in their own ways were truth-tellers, using their voices to challenge stigma and create space for others to breathe easier. Today, Rain is also known for her work as an actress and jazz singer, appearing in shows such as Head of the Class. Beyond entertainment, she has spoken openly about mental health identity and resilience, becoming a voice of strength for those who feel marginalized. In interviews, she has often acknowledged the weight of her father's fame, but insists that her own authenticity is what defines her. Richard Pryor's comedy made millions laugh, but his family's story adds a poignant reminder behind every larger-than-life figure is a private world where acceptance or rejection can change everything. By embracing her bisexual identity, Rain Pryor showed that authenticity is not just inherited from famous bloodlines, it's a personal victory that can inspire countless others. And in that sense, her voice continues the work her father started, making people see truths they might otherwise ignore. Marlon Wayans. Marlon Wayans has built his career on laughter. From Scary Movie to White Chicks and countless comedic performances alongside his brothers, he has mastered the art of satire and slapstick while leaving audiences doubled over in amusement. But behind the humor is a man who takes his role as a father with deep sincerity. For Marlon, the greatest punchline isn't one that gets laughs, it's the unconditional love he gives to his children. That truth became clear in 2019 when he publicly celebrated his daughter, Amai Zachary Wayans, who is part of the LGBTQ+ community. That year, on Pride Month, Marlon posted a heartfelt message on Instagram with a picture of Amai wearing rainbow-colored shoes. His caption read, "Happy Pride to my pride and joy. I wouldn't change a thing about you. Love you to the moon, around the sun, through the galaxies, and back again." It wasn't just a casual post, it was a declaration of love in a space where not every parent, especially in the Black community, feels comfortable openly supporting LGBTQ+ children. The message went viral, earning praise but also criticism from those unwilling to embrace change. Marlon, however, didn't flinch. He made it clear he was a proud father first, a celebrity second. That bold, public stance resonated because it came from a man known for humor rather than social commentary. It reminded people that true parenthood isn't about molding children to fit social norms, but celebrating them as they are. Amai, though not in the spotlight like her father, has become a symbol of strength for living authentically. She represents a younger generation unafraid to stand tall in their identity, knowing they have support at home. Marlon has said in interviews that he learns from his daughter every day, especially about courage and honesty. By turning the narrative around, he acknowledged that parenthood isn't just teaching children, it's also about listening to them and growing together. What makes Marlon's story especially significant is its ripple effect. His words reached millions, many of whom may have been struggling with acceptance either of themselves or their loved ones. By openly embracing his daughter, he set an example for parents who might otherwise remain silent. His message reminded families that love is louder than prejudice, and that supporting your children can be the most radical act of resistance against a judgmental world. Marlon Wayans continues to act, produce, and make audiences laugh, but his legacy extends far beyond Hollywood comedies. He is also a father who redefines masculinity not through bravado, but through tenderness. His love for Amai Zachary is proof that acceptance doesn't weaken a parent's image, it strengthens it. In a world that still struggles with prejudice, Marlon Wayans shows that the most powerful punchline is simple: love always wins. Isaiah Thomas. When basketball fans hear the name Isaiah Thomas, they instantly think of grit, skill, and an indomitable will to win. Standing just 6'1", Thomas wasn't the tallest player on the court, but his heart and competitive fire made him one of the fiercest point guards in NBA history. A two-time NBA champion with the Detroit Pistons and a 12-time All-Star, Thomas became the face of the infamous Bad Boys era. Yet beyond his Hall of Fame resume, his most meaningful legacy lies in a much quieter arena: his role as a father to his openly gay son, Zeke Thomas. Born in 1989, Zeke carved a path very different from his father's. Instead of basketball, he pursued music and became a successful DJ, performing internationally and building his name in the entertainment world. But Zeke's journey to authenticity wasn't only about career, it was also about identity. He came out as gay and used his voice not just to live truthfully, but to advocate for others in the LGBTQ+ community. His life took another courageous turn in 2017 when he revealed publicly that he was a survivor of sexual assault. The disclosure was painful, but his decision to speak out broke an important silence around an issue rarely discussed by gay men of color. What made his story even more powerful was the quiet but unwavering support of his father. Isaiah Thomas, known for his toughness on the court, showed another kind of strength as a dad standing beside his son, not through loud proclamations, but through consistent presence. He did not let his son's identity or trauma define him by society's terms. Instead, he allowed Zeke to define his own narrative. Zeke has since used his platform to raise awareness about issues like consent, mental health, and self-acceptance. He has appeared on national television, worked with advocacy groups, and DJed at Pride events, turning his pain into purpose. Behind him, his father's loyalty has been a constant anchor. The absence of judgment, the calm reassurance, and the willingness to listen created the foundation that allowed Zeke to thrive. Isaiah's handling of his son's journey also challenges stereotypes within the sports world. As a leader of one of the toughest teams in NBA history, he has shown that toughness isn't only about physical play, it's also about emotional resilience, about being strong enough to accept and embrace difference. In communities where masculinity is often narrowly defined, his example speaks volumes. Zeke continues to shine in his own right, and Isaiah remains proud, if understated, in his support. Together, their story reminds us that greatness is not only measured in championships or accolades, but in the ability to love without condition. Isaiah Thomas, the fearless point guard, proves that being a champion at home is just as important as being one on the court. Will Smith. For decades, Will Smith has been one of Hollywood's most bankable stars. From the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to blockbuster hits like Independence Day, Men in Black, and King Richard, he has become a global icon of charisma, versatility, and staying power. Yet beyond the red carpets and accolades, one of Will's most powerful roles has been as a father committed to nurturing authenticity in his children. That commitment has been tested and celebrated most publicly through his daughter Willow Smith, who came of age in the spotlight while navigating her identity. Willow captured the world's attention in 2010, when at only 9 years old, she released the hit single Whip My Hair. While her father's career had been carefully built over decades, Willow was thrust into stardom overnight. Instead of letting fame define her, she chose to redefine herself. Over the years, she has emerged not just as a singer-songwriter, but as a bold voice for individuality, gender expression, and non-traditional ideas about love. In 2021, during an episode of Red Table Talk, the family's candid talk show hosted by Jada Pinkett Smith Willow came out as bisexual and spoke openly about her preference for ethical non-monogamy. She explained that for her emotional connection mattered more than strict relationship labels. While some praised her honesty, others criticized her unconventional views. Yet through it all, one thing stood firm: the unwavering support of her parents. Will and Jada didn't shy away from defending their daughter's right to define herself on her own terms. Their stance wasn't just about family, it sent a larger message to the world about acceptance, tolerance, and the importance of listening to the next generation. Willow has since become a respected artist in alternative R&B and rock, performing on global stages and collaborating with stars such as Machine Gun Kelly and Avril Lavigne. She has also become a fashion icon known for her edgy, androgynous looks and fearless self-expression. Her journey reflects not only her own courage, but also the safe environment her parents created for her to explore who she truly is. For Will Smith, supporting Willow has also been a lesson in humility and growth. He has spoken about learning from his children, admitting that fatherhood is not about control, but about guidance and openness. His willingness to adapt, even under public scrutiny, reveals a different kind of strength, one that values love over pride. In the end, Will Smith's greatest legacy may not just be his Hollywood career, but his example as a father who chose compassion over conformity. By standing firmly behind Willow, he proved that acceptance at home is the foundation that allows young people to soar in the world. Cheryl Elizabeth Clemens. Cheryl Elizabeth Clemens, better known by her stage name Coco, is a powerhouse voice that defined 1990s R&B. As the lead singer of SWV Sisters with Voices, her high soprano carried unforgettable hits like Weak Right Here, Human Nature, and Rain. With over 25 million records sold worldwide, SWV became one of the best-selling girl groups of all time, carving a space for young black women in mainstream music during the golden age of R&B. Yet, behind her chart-topping success, Coco's most profound role has been that of a mother navigating a deeply personal journey with courage, transparency, and unconditional love. Her son, Jalen Clemens, is not a celebrity in the traditional sense, but has become a figure of representation for many. Known for his creative style and individuality, Jalen's journey toward self-acceptance culminated in 2016 when he officially came out as part of the LGBTQ+ community. For many children of public figures, such revelations are fraught with fear of scrutiny or rejection. But Coco's reaction was the opposite. She proudly embraced her son, calling him her precious gift and affirming that his identity was not something to hide but to celebrate. Coco's support was not limited to private encouragement. She spoke openly in interviews and on social media, praising her son's bravery and encouraging others to love their children without judgment. This made her stand out in the entertainment industry, where some celebrities choose silence or distance to protect their public image. Instead, she used her platform to send a clear message: authentic love has no conditions. Do you believe more celebrities should openly speak about supporting their LGBTQ+ children? The impact of her choice rippled far beyond her own family. Fans who once admired her voice now saw her as a role model for modern parenting. In Black communities where conversations about sexuality and gender identity can still carry stigma, Coco's openness provided a blueprint for acceptance. It showed that a parent's influence can either harm or heal, and she chose healing. Her son's confidence, creativity, and pride in living authentically became a direct reflection of her steadfast support. Even as she continues to tour with SWV, Coco often prioritizes family moments, underscoring that fame is fleeting, but family is forever. Her legacy, therefore, is twofold. On stage, she is a celebrated R&B icon whose voice helped shape a generation. Off-stage, she is a mother whose unconditional love became a source of inspiration for thousands navigating identity and acceptance. Cheryl Elizabeth Clemens reminds us that the brightest spotlight is not always the one that shines from a stage. It's the light of a mother who chooses love over fear and pride over silence. Jada Pinkett Smith. Jada Pinkett Smith has long been known as a multifaceted talent. From her breakout role on the sitcom A Different World to blockbuster films like The Matrix Reloaded and Set It Off, she built a reputation as an actress with strength and presence. Beyond acting, she is a producer, talk show host, and activist who has never shied away from tackling sensitive issues. But perhaps her most impactful role has been in her own home, supporting her daughter Willow Smith as she grew into her identity as a proud member of the LGBTQ+ community. Jada's bond with Willow has always been one of openness and dialogue. That dynamic came into sharp focus in 2021 during an episode of Red Table Talk, the candid talk show Jada launched with Willow and her mother Adrienne Banfield Norris. On the show, Willow revealed she identifies as bisexual and spoke about her belief in ethical non-monogamy, sparking conversations across the world. Instead of reacting with shock or discomfort, Jada leaned in with empathy and understanding, reminding audiences that family is built on trust and acceptance. Jada's public support went beyond the episode. She affirmed that Willow's perspective on love and identity should be celebrated rather than criticized. Her response stood in stark contrast to how many parents, particularly in traditional or high-profile households, might have handled such revelations. For Willow, that unconditional love became a foundation for courage. She has since released music that defies genre boundaries, embraced bold fashion statements, and spoken openly about her identity, all while knowing her family stood firmly by her side. Jada's consistent encouragement has been crucial in giving Willow the freedom to explore her authentic self without fear of rejection. Jada herself has long been admired for her willingness to confront tough topics. Whether addressing marriage struggles with Will Smith advocating for women's rights or championing diversity in Hollywood, she has shown a rare kind of vulnerability in the public sphere. That same fearlessness has carried into her role as a mother. By modeling acceptance of Willow, she not only strengthened their relationship, but also provided a roadmap for other parents navigating similar conversations. Her influence as a mother reaches beyond her own family. In the Black community, where LGBTQ+ issues are sometimes met with stigma, Jada's example as a supportive parent has been vital. It demonstrates that love and respect are more powerful than judgment, and that standing beside your child can create a ripple effect of understanding in society at large. Jada Pinkett Smith's story is not simply one of fame or celebrity. It is the story of a mother who chose compassion over conformity. By embracing her daughter's truth and amplifying her voice, she proved that acceptance begins at home and that unconditional love is the most enduring legacy any parent can give. Cynthia Bailey. Cynthia Bailey first captured public attention as a striking supermodel gracing magazine covers and runways in the 1990s before becoming a household name on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Known for her elegance, poise, and business savvy, she built a brand that extended far beyond reality TV, branching into entrepreneurship and fashion. Yet behind the glamour and career highlights, Bailey's most important role has been that of a mother who listens, embraces, and leads with love. Her support for her daughter, Noelle Robinson, has made her not just a TV star, but a role model for parents navigating the complexities of raising LGBTQ+ children. In 2019, Noelle revealed her truth on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, opening up to her mother about her attraction to both men and women. The moment was raw and unscripted. Sitting in the car, Noelle confided that she felt capable of loving people regardless of gender. For millions watching, it was a surprising revelation. For Cynthia, it was a moment to demonstrate what unconditional acceptance looks like. She responded simply but powerfully. If you meet an amazing young lady and she makes you happy, that's a blessing. Those words resonated deeply with viewers. In a culture where LGBTQ+ children often face rejection, hearing a mother speak such affirmations on national television was groundbreaking. Cynthia's calm and nurturing reaction helped normalize conversations about sexuality in Black families, where stigma still lingers. Noelle's honesty and her mother's grace turned that televised conversation into more than just entertainment. It became an educational moment. Fans praised Cynthia for her openness and her ability to lead by example. Instead of shaming her daughter or pressuring her to fit societal expectations, she gave her the space to grow and explore her identity safely. Since then, Noelle has continued to live authentically, sharing her life with confidence and encouraging others to embrace themselves. Cynthia has consistently supported her daughter in interviews and social media posts, proving her initial reaction was not just a one-time statement, but a reflection of her values as a parent. Bailey's parenting has also reshaped how people view her outside of reality television. While she may be celebrated for her beauty, fashion, and business ventures, her role as a supportive mother has become equally important to her public image. She has shown that true strength lies not in controlling children's choices, but in accepting them with open arms. Cynthia Bailey's story reminds us that love is not passive. It is an active decision to support, protect, and nurture even in the face of public scrutiny. By choosing compassion over judgment, she has become a symbol of modern parenthood, proving that the runway and the television screen are not her only stages. The most meaningful spotlight she has ever stood under is the one that shines when she affirms her daughter's right to live authentically. Michael Jordan. When people think of Michael Jordan, the image is clear. The soaring dunks, the 6 NBA championships, the unmatched competitive drive that made him his airness. Widely considered the greatest basketball player of all time, Jordan's name is synonymous with excellence. Yet away from the court and billion-dollar brand deals, one of his most meaningful victories has been as a father standing firmly beside his daughter Jasmine Jordan as she embraced her truth. Jasmine, born in 1992, grew up under the spotlight of her father's enormous fame. For years, she lived a relatively private life, pursuing her own career in sports marketing and working closely with the Jordan brand. But in 2023, she stepped into a new kind of spotlight when she publicly acknowledged that she is a lesbian. Speaking candidly at a fashion event in New York City, she declared, "I'm done hiding. It's time to be true to myself." The statement was both liberating and courageous, sending a powerful message about self-acceptance. Michael Jordan's reaction was not to recoil or distance himself, but to stand with his daughter. Though known for his competitive toughness, Jordan revealed a softer, more profound strength, unconditional love. Reports noted that while he initially needed time to process Jasmine's announcement, he quickly moved past any hesitation, vowing to be a constant source of support. He even sought advice from close friends and allies in the LGBTQ+ community to better understand how to support her fully. Jasmine's decision to live authentically has empowered countless fans who look up to the Jordan family. She has since spoken about how crucial her father's support has been, noting that his acceptance allowed her to step forward confidently into her truth. Her journey has also helped expand the Jordan family legacy beyond sports, showing that greatness isn't only measured in championships, but in the courage to be yourself. Michael Jordan's support also carries weight in the broader cultural conversation. Within the Black community and sports world, where discussions of LGBTQ+ identity can be fraught with stigma, his acceptance of Jasmine sends a powerful signal. Just as his competitive fire inspired millions on the basketball court, his love as a father inspires others to choose compassion over prejudice. Jasmine Jordan continues to thrive, balancing her career, motherhood, and advocacy while being unapologetically herself. Her father, meanwhile, remains quietly proud, showing that even legends can grow by listening, learning, and loving unconditionally. Michael Jordan's story reminds us that while records may be broken and trophies may tarnish, the love and acceptance we show our children will always remain. In supporting Jasmine, he proves that the greatest victory of all is not a game won, but a family strengthened by authenticity and love. Robert Sylvester Kelly. Robert Sylvester Kelly, known to the world as R. Kelly, rose to superstardom in the 1990s with chart-topping hits like I Believe I Can Fly and Bump and Grind. For years, he was celebrated as the king of R&B, selling millions of records worldwide and shaping an era of soulful ballads and provocative anthems. Yet beyond the music, his family life became part of a very different story. One centered on his child, Jay Kelly, who bravely chose to live authentically, despite the challenges of having a father whose name remains clouded in controversy. Jay Kelly, born in 2000 to R. Kelly and reality TV star Andrea Drea. Kelly grew up under an unforgiving spotlight. From an early age, Jay displayed individuality with a flair for creativity and self-expression. In 2014, at only 14 years old, Jay took to social media to share something deeply personal he identified as a transgender boy. His announcement was not made on a magazine cover or a television special, but in his own words, quietly but powerfully online. He explained that living in secrecy no longer felt possible. He wanted to be true to himself. The reaction was mixed. On one hand, Jay was praised for his bravery by fans and LGBTQ+ advocates who applauded such honesty at a young age. On the other, he faced criticism and prejudice amplified by his father's notoriety. Instead of shrinking back, Jay pressed forward, attending events, speaking candidly about his life, and becoming a symbol of resilience for other transgender youth navigating similar journeys. One of the most complicated aspects of Jay's story is his father's response. R. Kelly initially told the media he needed time to understand a statement many criticized as dismissive. That hesitation created distance between father and son, but it also highlighted Jay's strength. Rather than waiting for validation, Jay built his own identity and found support through his mother and siblings who stood firmly by his side. In the years since, Jay Kelly has continued to express himself confidently, often using music and fashion as outlets for his creativity. By choosing authenticity in the face of family conflict and public scrutiny, he has become an inspiration to young people who struggle with acceptance at home. His journey reminds the world that identity is not determined by parents, fame, or critics. It is owned by the individual. R. Kelly's legacy in music remains overshadowed by legal scandals and convictions. But Jay Kelly's legacy is one of courage. He refused to let his father's fame or silence dictate his truth. Instead, he has emerged as a voice for freedom, acceptance, and the right to live authentically. His story underscores that even in the most difficult circumstances, self-love can light a path forward. Gary Payton. Gary Payton may not have the name recognition of NBA superstars or music legends, but his voice and acting talent have touched millions. Known for playing King Ezekiel on The Walking Dead and for voicing Cyborg in Teen Titans Go, Payton has built a career defined by versatility and passion. Off-screen, however, his most important role is not as a superhero or a king, it is as a father who champions authenticity. In 2020, Payton made headlines when he introduced his son Carter to the world as transgender. Rather than shielding the moment in secrecy, Gary posted a heartfelt message on Instagram. "This is my son, one of the bravest, most joyful people I know, my son Carter." The simplicity of his words carried immense weight, especially in a climate where many parents still struggle to accept their transgender children. His decision to share Carter's truth publicly was an act of both love and advocacy. Unlike other celebrity announcements that often spark debates or headlines about identity, Carter's journey was presented with dignity. Gary didn't frame it as controversial, he framed it as normal as love should always be. This approach sent a clear signal to fans. Parents are called to accept their children, not mold them to fit outdated expectations. Carter's transition wasn't marked by spectacle. Instead, it unfolded quietly, guided by the steady support of his father. Gary often emphasizes that children should be free to choose their own names, their own identities, and their own truths. By listening rather than dictating, he gave Carter the space to thrive. For the Black community in particular, where conversations about LGBTQ+ identities sometimes meet resistance, Gary Payton's openness offered a model of progress. Fans praised his courage, noting that while he might not be the most famous celebrity on the list, his message of love resonated universally. Carter's story became an inspiration to countless young people who rarely see their realities represented in mainstream media. Gary Payton reminds us that parenthood is not about performance, it's about presence. By affirming his son publicly, he proved that strength lies in vulnerability and that love, when shared openly, can transform not only a family, but the culture around it. Helen Folasade Adu. Helen Folasade Adu, known worldwide as Sade, has captivated audiences for decades with her smooth, soulful voice and timeless hits like Smooth Operator, No Ordinary Love, and By Your Side. Her artistry is marked by elegance, mystery, and restraint qualities that made her one of the most beloved and enigmatic figures in music. While she has always guarded her private life fiercely, there was one chapter she chose to share with the world: her unwavering support for her transgender son, Isaac Theo Adu. Born in 1996 as Michaelia Adu, Isaac grew up in the shadow of his mother's global fame, but chose his own path of authenticity. In 2016, he began his transition, and by 2019, after undergoing gender confirmation surgery, he took to Instagram to thank his mother. His post was raw and moving. "Thank you for staying with me these past 6 months. Mom, I love you more than the world." In those words, fans glimpsed the depth of Sade's support, which had largely been expressed privately, rather than in the spotlight. For someone as famously private as Sade, Isaac's message revealed more than just a family bond. It revealed a legacy of compassion. While she rarely gives interviews or public statements, her quiet, consistent presence in her son's life spoke louder than words. She showed that support doesn't always have to be shouted from a stage. Sometimes it's the quiet, steadfast love behind closed doors that matters most. Isaac has since become an advocate for transgender rights, sharing his journey publicly to inspire others. His openness, coupled with his mother's encouragement, has made him a role model for young people navigating identity and acceptance. In embracing his true self, he carried forward the same authenticity that made his mother a legend, only this time through personal truth rather than music. Said's legacy will always be tied to her ethereal voice and timeless songs, but her impact as a mother is equally powerful. By loving Isaac without condition, she demonstrated that even global icons must first succeed at home. In the end, her greatest hit may not be a song, but the living proof of what happens when a parent chooses love above all else. Behind every headline and every stage light lies a deeper truth. Love, when tested, either bends to prejudice or stands unshakable. These powerful stories of Black celebrities supporting their LGBTQ+ children prove that legacy is not just about trophies, records, or fame. It is about courage to love without conditions. But here's the question that lingers. Should more stars take the risk of going public with their support, even if it challenges their image, or is private love enough? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe to Legends of Black Excellence for more eye-opening stories.